Hey guys, and welcome back to Just Play Tabletop Wargaming. Today I've got 5 tips for you if you're going to tournaments. Maybe you're new to going to tournaments, or maybe you're a tournament veteran. I think that I've got 5 little things here that can help any of you get better results and just have a better time. But look, if you like this video or you want to see more, please like, subscribe, and you keep up to date with everything we've got coming from Just Play Tabletop Wargaming. So my first tip that I've got today for you, nice and simple, read the pack. You'd be surprised how many times I go to tournaments and people don't know like the rules, how to score in, maybe what missions to play in, which is even more and more common now. So I really suggest that you go through the whole pack and read it. It allows you to know things like breaks, when you're going to be able to get a break, when you're going to be having your lunch, particularly if you're interested in the painting side of things, you know, when you're going to be laying your army out for painting, so that can be judged. There's loads and loads of information in the pack, but from a gaming point of view, it really helps now. A lot of these tournaments will tell you the missions in advance. So it's really important that you know what missions are coming up. You can focus on just learning maybe those 5 missions. If you're really into practicing before you go to an event, you can play just those 5, really get some reps in. If you think that maybe one mission might be quite weak for your army, you might even be able to build your list around it. You know, a big obvious one is if there is any hero-based missions in Age of Sigmar where you need heroes to score. If there isn't any, maybe you can skimp back there, or maybe there is, and you need to think about putting some more on your list as well. So read the pack. You know, it might help you prepare for the tournament better, and it also makes sure you just know about scoring, know about how you're going to get your points in the event, everything like that. Even they may have some FAQs or some commonly asked questions that they put in there as well. So you know that you're going into the event if a rule's getting played a certain way. So please say it again, just read that pack. Doesn't half help when you're getting ready in advance. So the next one we've got here is organization. So it might seem a bit obvious, but you really don't want to be going with just like a big mess of stuff. All right. I play in tournaments and I take my time when I play. You know, I use most of my round time. So being organized is really important for me. Having everything in the right place, having everything I need, not wasting time digging through my bag, trying to find out little things. So there's a lot of different ways you can help yourself by being more organized when you go to an event. Now, I've got some little images on the screen you can see there where, you know, dice, tokens, a tray, some simple things like that. So let's talk about them a little bit more. So we'll start off with the tray. People take a tray to tournaments to carry their army around. After every game, you don't want to be packing all your models back in the case, taking them out. You just put them on a tray, something simple. You can get one from IKEA for like £1, and you can just put all your armies on a tray. When you first get to the event, you can carry it around then the whole weekend. A lot of people never pack their models away for the event. They'll leave them out in the tournament hall. You know, I personally spend so much time on my miniatures and painting them. I would never dare leave them out my site. So I always pack them all away at the end of the day. But yeah, you know, you can just get your models out once for the whole weekend. And you've saved so much time between going to your tables every game they're getting unpacked. Now, Notepad. So I've actually, if I put the other camera on here, I can show you some of the things that I have. So I take a little Notepad with me. This is actually the Games Workshop official one here, and it's got some key things in. Let's turn it around so you can see. It's got space to score all your missions, and this is the thing that I use the most. I mean, a nice blank page here. Scoring every round through the turn number, my turn, their turn, and the total at the end of each round. It also has a bunch of other information up here, you know, you can record and look back on who you played, your opponent's name. This is great if, like me, maybe you make any content or you write a blog. If you've got a note of who you played each round, you know, the name, so you're not like just saying, oh, my round 3 opponents, you know, you should make an effort to meet these people. It's a big part of going to events. So you can record all that there as well, and some notes during the game. So I talk about the reason I like pen and paper so much when going to events. First of all, the scoring one that I highlighted at the bottom. I think this is a bit of a from Magic the Gathering here. I like to write down the round scores. I don't use dice. I don't track them on the side or anything like that. I want to know every round what scoring's got on. So the advantage of this is how many times you had the game where you're like, oh, what's the score? What are we on? Yeah, I'm on 5. Oh, 5, are you? Really? What? I've got you down as 4, you know, you haven't seen the dice have got knocked. Or, you know, you're 3-4 turns into the game and you can't remember what you scored and you're going back. with the paper trail, I've always got that there then. You scored 2, I've scored 3. You scored 3, I've scored 1. And you can see it turn by turn. So it really helps if there's any debates of what the score is, or maybe, unfortunately, you don't agree what the score is with your opponents. I think it really goes to help that. I've got a paper trail there then, and I can show how we've scored the game each turn as well. So I find that really useful. I also write down anything else that people may commonly track with dice. So there's each Destiny dice. I write my Destiny dice down. Again, don't want to be knocking the dice, don't want to be picking up the dice at the wrong time or anything. So I always just make a note of it in my book as well. And that's why I keep track of that. Summoning, all things like that I use. People use lots of different ways, but I've always found pen and paper a simple way. And also I can just make some notes as well. If there's anything I might want to, remember during the game, I can make notes there, or after the game, if I do have time, I might try and make some notes about one, particularly if I lose. And I think there's something I might be able to improve on in the future. So I find a pad and paper, really, really good for me. Now, the next thing I've got here is my little dice box I take. Now, this is just a simple KR multi case. It's like £12. We actually sell it. You can get it at justplaygames.uk. But what I like about this is it's just small, simple case. It's a dice tray as well. So I've got a tray that I can roll my dice in here, but I have all my tokens and everything just nicely visible on one place. I don't have any like fancy storage, these go in this section, this goes in this section. I don't want to spend time tidying it up afterwards in the game. I want to keep it all perfect if it doesn't need to be. I just want to look at my tray at a glance, see everything I've got with me, and be able to grab what I need. So I have some great things. These are the terrain dice. These are made by the Bad Dice podcast. I think the website like baddice.com or something like that. Ben Curry, he makes and sells these. I'm sure if you've been to tournaments before, you will have seen them. But these have been one of the best things I've ever got for gaming. I love them. We just roll them out at the start of the game, decide where all the terrain is. It's really simple, and then they say where they are as a reference to what the terrain is. Very, very good product. It actually does token ones as well, which I'll talk about now. Then I've got a bunch of different size dice that I use to track wounds. D12s, D20s, D16s from Blood Bowls. I have these little tiny D4s as well, which are really cool for placing next to single models. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, so they count up, to a nice number around small heroes. And because they're a triangle, they don't knock over too easy. And the big thing about these dice is they're distinctively different from the D6 that are used otherwise. So I'm not tempted to pick them up, in the heat of battle. So I find these really, really good. Range rulers, always really handy. These are 9-inch ones. So these allow us to quickly check where stuff's deep striking, deploy 9 away from your opponents. Really, really handy. The little widget, which has a 3, a 2, a 1.5 inch. All the measurements you really need in a game of Warhammer. And I have some extra bits now. These are just plain white Perspex tokens, and I write on them what I may have for each game. So I'll just get my Sharpie out. You can just wipe it off with a little bit of whatever, aftershave or nail varnish remover, whatever you need to. And I'll just write on here what buffs I'm going to be regularly using during the game. Now, what I do is I have all these buffs out at the side of the table for me. And at the end of my hero phase, it's maybe a good time, I might look down and be, like, why is this buff not on the table on a unit? It helps me remind things that I may have to get out into play, so I don't miss them as well. So if they're always laid out, in my sort of playing area, I'm aware of buffs that maybe I want to get on the table. Why have I used it? Why have I not used it? Has it failed? Now, look, you really want to take tokens to the tournament. It helps you remember what you have on your unit, if you put like reroll ones on or something, and it helps clear up again anything between you and your opponents when, maybe they have not kept up with what you've said in the hero phase. Very often people are thinking about their game at that point. They're reading some rules, they're checking over something. So tokens on the table, everyone will appreciate it. Should always bring them. Now, I mentioned the dice ones earlier. I'd love to replace these with dice. I want to get some that say a lot of the common things on, and helps me, again, just put them around on the table, turn them around. They will be useful for like all armies, because I like generic stuff. I don't like them, specialized for every single army. Just generic, reroll ones, extra round 2, +1 attack, reroll armor saves, things like that. I have some command point ones. I have some objective marker ones, some little generic tokens. These are actually used for Aether Quartz right now on on dwarfs and the Lumina, so they're quite suitable, but just some little tokens I can use for anything. These rings are really handy as well. These are Blood Bowl skill rings. So these are 32mm ones, and they can go around the base of a model. I've used these for highlighting heroes in units that aren't obvious. So like a Half God Berserker unit where the only difference is the leader has got 2 flails on his axe, or he's got slightly bigger hair, really hard to notice. So I use these to mark them for myself and for my opponents. Or if I'm stringing units out in lines and they're very similar and they're joining up, I may put a ring at the end of each one so I can again distinguish where the units start and end as well. So there's all the little dice that and it's stuff I take with me. You also want to make sure that you've got all your rule books and everything as well. You want to make sure you've got your battle tome, your general's handbook, everything you need as well in physical form. Taking your army list printed off as well is a really good part of being organized. Your opponents will want to see your army list before the start of the game, and it's nice to just be able to give it to them, right? Like, I hate it when I've got it on my phone, I've got to hand my phone over to them and it's locking itself halfway through them reading it and whatever, and just give them the army list. They can read through it and they can ask you any questions then as well. All right. So that's really, really important. So organization is a big part of this. So I think that helps. All that helps me a hell of a lot of tournaments, and hopefully I'll help you a little bit as well. So next one, health and fitness. Look after yourself, guys. That's all you need to do. At a tournament, take a seat, sit down. Don't stand the whole time if you can help it. When it's your opponent's turn, just try and remember, just sit down, have a breather, have a little bit of a rest your feet, yeah? Other thing is you want to do is I always take some fruit and drink with me as well. So always make sure you've got a bottle of water with you, whatever you like, really, but have something to hand, because you might not get a chance during a game. If the game goes long, you might not get a chance to get out to the bar, anything like that. I always take some nice snacks, like bananas or breakfast bars, whatever fruit you like. I always have something handy with me in my bag and just snack on any of those, give myself a bit of energy and make sure I'm not, going hungry, particularly like I say, I like to play most of my round, use up all my time. So it's always good to have something with me as well. So a good point. Next one, know your rules, okay? Really frustrating when you play against someone who doesn't know all the rules. Now, people go to tournaments for the first time and appreciate that, right? And you can tell people usually introduce themselves for the first time. It's more forgiving. But when you're playing against someone who's, played for a long time, maybe just switching between armies, just picked it up at the last minute, you want to make a little bit of effort to know your rules. Have your battle tome, have it read before. Now, let me show you a really good tool here, actually, for getting prepared for tournaments. So this is called AOS Reminders. It's a really good, let me get it up for you. Here we go, guys. So this is AOS Reminders. This is a really good application which allows you to enter all your units into it, all your command abilities, legion ability. Basically, you put your list into AOS Reminders. Okay, you can see there's tons of information just on the screen here. All the endless spells, everything you can select. You put it all in here, and it's gonna. If we pick a few things here, we take some units, the grave spawn. Let's put a battalion in there. Let's take some endless spells, and then it gives you, as you can see, all the information you need for all your rules there as a reminder, right? AOS Reminders, and then you can print this off for yourself as well. So this is really popular and really good. If you knew you haven't been to a tournament before, maybe you're playing an army for the first time, get all this off, put all your units in it, put your list in it, generates everything you need to do at every single phase of the game. Look, during the movement phase, during the hero phase, start of the hero phase, it really breaks it down. So if you use this, it'll allow you at every point of the game just to stop, look, see what should be going on, see if you've missed anything, help you as well improve your play, this will. But also just make sure you don't miss anything, you're following your rules, right? It's a nice little summary, really great bit of kit that. Really like it. And my last point then that I'm going to go over is be the opponent you want to play. I think people go to tournaments to win, to play Warhammer, but I don't think there's anyone out there that would say that they don't go for the social side of things as the most important part. I love going to events because I get to meet lots of new people, lots of other people, guys and girls who have got similar interests to me, and I get to talk about it the whole time. It's just brilliant. So when I say about be the opponent you want to play, you know, when you get to the table, introduce yourself, you know, find out their name, you know, find out a little bit about them as the game's going on as well. You know, just make small talk, right? Like, think about why people are at events for. Some people are not there just for the game, and some people are there to show the army. I always look at the opponent's army. I'm interested in painting anyway, but I always look at the opponent's army and have a little look over it, and, you know, talk about what they've done, some of the stuff like that, because they might just be there for the hobby. And I love it when people, you know, mention my army's nice and want to talk about how I've painted a certain technique or whatever. So I always try and take a little interest in that as well. Your opponent's probably going to have questions about your army when you pass them the list as well. They might not know what something does. Be upfront with them. Tell them what your army does. You're not out there to trick people and catch them out. If somebody might start asking me, I might ask them, have you ever played Sylvanas before? If they say no, you know, I'll talk about what my army does in short. And I might summarize things. You know, they can go through my list and try and figure out every little bit of information. What's this one do? What's this one do? How do these interact? When I played Sylvanas, my opponent would say, oh, no, I haven't. I'll say, look, in short, I'm going to put my entire army wherever I want on the board in my turn one. You know, 9 away from you, and I'm going to have +3 to charge. Yeah, just lay that out for them right at the start, and it allows them to prepare and allows them to have a horrible feel bad when, you know, you catch them out afterwards. And I'd always expect the same from my opponents. But you're ask the right questions there, and people will be upfront. You know, if you ask them, what's the maximum threat range of that unit? And they'll tell you, yeah, you know, it's 24, but this hero can add 12 to it, or this hero makes them auto charge 12. So they can be people always be upfront. They'll tell you what they are. I mean, honestly, everyone is so nice at these things, and they will help you out. And think about that when people are asking you about your list and what things do. Try not to lose your head, yeah. Games can get frustrating at times, but have a laugh about dice rolls, enjoy that side of things as well. But it's not always good, you know, to be laughing at your opponents' misluck. If they're not having the best time with the dice rolls, you know, you don't rub it in the face, you know. You don't always talk about, oh, I rolled average or didn't quite go well there. Sometimes it can just get a bit dull. You know, the dice are the exciting part of the game. It's a fun part. I just try and get into it and enjoy it. Yeah, you know, sometimes your opponent might roll bad and it's like a laugh and stuff like that. You know, you laugh about it yourselves, don't you? So just keep that in mind as well. It's never good being better. I know I've lost my head once at an event with someone, and I regret it terribly. You know, it's awful just, you know, getting annoyed about something that happened in the game. So, you know, pressure can be on, but, you know, always try and, you know, take with a smile, and there's always going to be that next game coming up as well. So yeah, I think they would be my 5 top tips for going to any wargaming tournaments, particularly maybe if you're new and you're returning to them. You know, you've been painting your armies all through lockdown and you're ready to get out to some events and things. You know, I'd tell you take that plunge, go out to them, keep these tips in mind. Hopefully they will really help you at your next tournament. And if you enjoyed this video, please give us a like. If you've got any comments, I'd love to hear how you prepare for tournaments, any tips that you guys have got. We always try and get back to everybody who comments on our videos. So I'd love to hear anything. If you agree, disagree with what I've said, guys, please, love to hear from you. And don't forget, subscribe so you can keep on track with all our videos coming up. Thanks very much for tuning in. Catch you next time.